What I took from Howard Roseman's press conference is simple. A.J. Brown, it's going to take a lot to get him up out of Philadelphia. And for everybody that made a big thing, because I saw earlier, check this out.
And so we all got to do a better job.
Who are you trading A.J. Brown to?
Excuse me?
Who are you trading A.J. Brown to?
Yeah. I think that when we talk about getting back to a Super Bowl and winning a championship, that's really a great credit to the amount of players we have who can play at an incredibly high level. And AJ is one of those guys. AJ is a great player. And I think that when we talked to Sean and talked to him about his system, his vision for AJ is a huge part of that. And, we got to get better. And you don't get better by just sacrificing great players, and so I think we look forward to improving and to adding on.
Now, I'm not an expert. But I do know the Philadelphia Eagles are not looking to move A.J. Brown unless they get a lot. And rightfully so, right? You are a GM in the NFL. If you hear an offer, whether it's for Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, someone that blows you away, right? Jalen Carter. No one is untradeable. This is a business at the end of the day. But I think it's crazy how the NFL continues to milk the situation where they think he's going to go to New England, where they think he's going to go to Buffalo, where they think that A.J. Brown is just so much a distraction, and they don't realize that Howie Roseman is a guy that doesn't see it that way. As a GM, you have to be able to understand different personalities. You got to be flexible. You can't just rely on what the haters say outside the building, as we call them AJ haters. Okay, the ones that don't think AJ's a locker room leader, the ones that think that he's a cancer, the ones that keep saying he doesn't like Jalen Hurts. You're not in that building. Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, who I don't even... We're going to talk about him too, because I had issues with what he is saying. But A.J. Brown is viewed as a leader in the locker room. And Howie Roseman has talked about the leadership he brought. Check this out.
Because as the season's unfolding and you've got the game in, game out, day in, day out, and you've got these different moments where AJ says something on social media and then has to talk about it at his locker, and there's just this background noise of tension. Like, do you try to end that in real time? Do you just accept that that's part of the gig? Let's just focus on football. Like, is it a distraction?
I'm actually glad you brought this. I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
Maybe
you're fine. No, the question was too long, so it needed to stop.
I think that sometimes what's going on outside isn't the same we feel internally, and so I think like AJ is a fearless competitor who loves to play, who loves to win. And when people ask him something, he just tells them what he views as what's going on. And, he's done that before in years that we've won championships, and or gone to the Super Bowl. And so everything for him comes in terms of trying for us to get better, trying to improve, seeing things that we could improve. So someone asks him the question, and he's honest, and all of us who have relationships with AJ in the building, and all of us do have relationships with AJ, see a guy who cares about his teammates. He's a captain. He's been a captain. He's not elected by me. He's not elected by Nick. He's elected by his teammates. And that speaks to the kind of leadership that he has and the work ethic that he has.
So, yeah, Howie Roseman has said that he's not trading AJ Brown unless he gets allowed. Now, he also talked about, in this interview, which I thought was interesting, the offensive coordinator and how Sean Mannion, a first-year offensive coordinator, has never called plays in the NFL, but has called plays before, I think in the Shrine Bowl meeting or something like that, Shrine Bowl game. And, as he talked about it, he showed disappointment. Howie does not like losing. That is a great thing to have in a GM. When you're dedicated to winning, most GMs don't care about winning. They say they want to win, but they don't care, okay? Howie Roseman is hurt about losing the first round. And having GM that loves winning, you gotta love it. As we play this clip, he mentioned that, and this is why I love Hal Roseman. That John Snyder, the GM for the Seahawks, has a championship, and he wants to get that swagger back. That is so important. Check this out, though.
Don't you think that was some of it?
I think that I just saw John Schneider walk by me, and I was jealous that he's walking around with the championship swag, and I want to get that back. So I don't know that it serves me any purpose to go back on the tush push.
How much did winning one make you want to win a second, and how much does winning a second make you want to win a third?
Yeah, and I think also, the humbling loss to the Chiefs in 2022 and how much that hurt, and trying to get back and realizing how hard it was to get there, how well we played that season, and then coming back in 2024. And, you watch the playoffs and you feel like we could have done better. And there was maybe an opportunity for us to do better here this season. And so that really motivates you. And winning is so much fun, and winning at the highest levels, the most important thing. And so, I understand that, 11 wins, NFC East, is that the worst season you could possibly have? Probably not. But we have high expectations for our football team. I have high expectations for myself and the job that I can do. And so we all got to do a better job.
So yeah, Howie Roseman has done a phenomenal job building this roster, and I do think that we're going to see a lot of moves. Eagles offense. I think that we're going to see a lot of different parts. It is looking in March. We're seeing a lot of good stuff. That A.J. Brown is not being traded unless they get a lot. They have to be blown away. It is. I'm saying again, it's going to take at least 4 first-round picks for them to even talk about trading A.J. Brown. It's not just A.J. Brown age. It's also the fact that this man is one of the best receivers we have, and the captain, the leadership. When you lose that, you got to fill that in. And, you got to understand that it's not easy to trade guys when they also have a cap hit. This is why I don't understand the conversation, and I wish people would drop it, honestly. But, the GMs are going to obviously talk with each other. And if Howie gets, let's say, he gets an offer for Devontae Smith that is blown away, he's probably going to pull the trigger, right? That is a normal GM. That's not just because of A.J. Brown. It's not because of a certain player. That is every GM. If you get a call that's blown away, you're going to think about it. That's part of football. And, what I got from it is the Eagles are not moving A.J. Brown because part of the dead cap hit, and also because, A.J. Brown does not want to go nowhere. It's up to, if A.J. Brown said, I don't want to be here, then they're going to pull the trigger. But I also think that Howie Roseman doesn't look like he wants to trade players. This is not a year to trade in A.J. Brown. It's not a year to move on from certain players. This is a year to, again, retool and get back to another Super Bowl, hopefully, in January. And it starts with the offense coordinator. Sean Mannion has to be able to have the full offense. And my thing is, is this head coach going to be involved? Is this head coach going to be, once again, sticking his hand in the cookie jar? We listen to Nick. I'm not even going to play Nick's press because I don't see him the head coach in 2027. I think Sean Mannion is going to be our head coach. I got a feeling that Nick Sirianni is probably out the door soon. And this is Sean Mannion's team. I keep saying this was a hire because they wanted an offensive coordinator to be a head coach. And some of these guys wanted to be head coaches this year. And they were looking for a guy that could be there for 2 to 3 years at the most. And Sean Mannion was the guy. He comes from Sean McVay. And as you hear Howie Roseman, his eyes are just, he's worried about getting back to a Super Bowl. That's his goal. And that's what you want in the gym. And I love what Howie Roseman said about A.J. Brown, because he didn't have to say all that. You know what I'm saying? Mark Floro said, who you trading A.J. Brown to? He's like, I'm sorry? Like, throwing Howie Roseman off his game, trying to get him to bait him into say something. These media, you got to be careful of what you say to them. And I'm glad Howie Roseman cleared the air about A.J. Brown. There was other interviews. He was on CBS, and check this out, man. He talked about more about A.J. Brown, and just, again, it doesn't look like they're going to move him.
Can't guarantee that A.J. Brown would be a part of the 2026 Philadelphia Eagles. For you being a GM, clearly you would love to retain him and keep him a part of the organization. But would you be willing to listen to offers if someone called?
Do you not know who we're talking to?
Well,
He's a Gator.
This is
he's a Gator.
Will and deal right
you
now.
know, I spent a lot of time with Coach every day, and in our travel here, and all of a sudden I got like, I'm not on social media, but I got this like Nick won't guarantee, and he goes, that's not really what I said. They just said, I said I can't guarantee anything. Anyone will be here. I can't guarantee I'll be here, next. And I said, I don't think they took it that way, Coach. But what I'd say is this: we're in the business of keeping great players, and AJ is a great player. AJ is a difference-making player for our team. He's been on our team 4 years. We've been to the playoffs all 4 of those years. Won a Super Bowl, been in 2 Super Bowls, and he's a captain on our team. And so you're not looking to get rid of players like that. For us, the disappointment in the season was not progressing past the first round of the playoffs. So we're looking to build on that and go forward. And so that's adding on. At the same time, there's nobody. Our job as GMs, Brand knows it, we got to listen, on anyone. And that doesn't have anything to do with AJ. If anyone calls me and says, hey, I want to talk to you about a player, for me just to say unequivocally, I'm not taking your call, that doesn't make sense because I don't know what they're going to say on the other end. Now, the chances that I'm doing that with a great player, they're not very high. But by the same token, I think that for all of our roster, we got to be open to change. We got to be open to listening to teams that come and call us on anything. And but I think that when you talk about A.J. Brown and what we're trying to do, we're trying to improve offensively over last year. We feel like our defense is in a really good place. We've drafted a lot of guys on our defense, young players who are coming up on a second contract, and we're trying to build and get back to the level of success we had playing offensive football like we had in 2024.
So yeah, it doesn't look like Howie Roseman is going to trade A.J. Brown again. It's going to take a lot to get him, and he said other stuff, but I'm going to make a part 2 of his, because it was a lot. Obviously, talk with the head coach, but A.J. Brown is not getting traded. It is not likely going to happen. Again, I'm not a genius, but when I listen to Howie Roseman and when he talks about A.J. Brown, it seems like, and maybe he could just be fooling me, maybe he's just doing this because it's business, but I seriously doubt it. The way he talks about A.J. Brown is like he's a core piece of our offense, and you don't get rid of guys like that unless you have a good offer, man. So I think A.J. Brown is safe in Philadelphia. I don't think they're going to move on from him. I mean, could a team blow him away? Obviously. I mean, there's always a team that might be desperate, but I don't see some team giving up a lot what the Eagles are probably offering, are looking for. It's going to take a lot. So people need to relax. AJ's not getting traded, and I think we need to be done with it. So, we got to go into free agency, and we got to retain our guys. We got to look for this season and get back to a Super Bowl, because that's the goal, is to win another championship, man. It's to put the best offense and put the best defense. And Howie Roseman has talked about this offense a lot, and he talked about this defense a lot, and I think that both sides are going to be addressed in this draft. I think that when you talk about a tight end and Dallas Goedert and potential names that you can be drafting, there's a lot of guys that are probably going to be departed, but A.J. Brown is not one of them. So it's interesting what Howie Roseman said, and I'm excited to see what this guy's going to do going into 2026. What are the moves? How are we going to get better as a football team? So like and subscribe, man, and I'll see you on the next one. Go Birds.